Hello and welcome to this week's edition of All About Berea, brought to you by BereaOnline.com and the Berea Citizen. I'm Chad Hembree.
And I'm Beth Meyers.
Joining us this week in the studio, we have Jonathan Schinhofen, and we have a special guest coming up later this hour, Mr. Randy Coffey, who's going to be coming into the studio to talk about the US 25 yard sale. So we're all excited about that, and we've got a couple other stories that we be getting to you very quickly. But before that, we're going to start with 4 things you should know. Now, here's our senior news editor, Beth Meyers.
Thanks, Chad. So this is 4 things you should know about Berea. First of all, there was some sad news that the Berea community faced when another prominent member had died, Kathie Bettler, this past Friday on December 31st, very unexpectedly. The former Madison Southern drama teacher was 62 and had just retired the year before. She had been very active in the group that she had founded, Spotlight Acting School, as well as several other theater and musical theater projects that she was involved in. This hit a lot of people in the community hard. Kathie had been active, there had been no concerns at all. Her funeral was Tuesday, and it was a packed house at First Christian Church in Richmond. And in keeping with Kathie and her love of theater and love of music, the funeral actually started out with "There's no business like show business," as a fitting tribute to the woman who had been so passionate and so involved in passing on that passion of theater to her students. The US 25 yard sale is taking place this weekend. It's only the second year it will do so. It is starting at the Kentucky-Ohio border and will be traveling south. Now, there's going to be kind of sporadic locations, and at this point it's probably unsure how many places will be having yard sales. Berea will be doing it along 25. Of course, if people want to do it in the business section, they'll have to get permission, but that will be taking place Friday and Saturday. Bear sightings have once again taken place in Berea, this time around Berea College property. The Berea College store has already had t-shirts printed up if anyone would like to get one stating, "I survived the bear 2013. It was last Friday, May 31st, around 7 a.m., an email went out on the Berea College list telling people that a bear had been spotted in the area of Seabury Center and the hospital. By 8:30 later that morning, another email alert went out that the bear had left Berea College property. Public safety asked people at that point to avoid wooded areas, but it appeared that the bear was no longer in the campus area. Perhaps he just could not bear it any longer. When we asked Clint Patterson, the Berea College forester, how we should handle if we see a bear, he said, "Well, you just really shouldn't approach them. Best to ignore them and back off." He himself has never actually seen a bear, though he would love to. He stated that working here in Berea is the closest he has been to bear territory. It's suspected that this is a black bear, the most common type in this area. And for number 4 of 4 things about Berea, people are warned that Estill Street will be taken down to 1 lane for the next couple of weeks as they are working on utilities. Bereans are encouraged, if possible, to avoid Estill Street because the traffic will probably be very congested there for a while because of the 1 lane. And that is all for 4 things you should know.
Well, first of all, I just need to apologize to Berea College. All I was doing was cutting between Seabury and the hospital to go to the pool and swim, and I was...
Well, and there's also the issue, Chad.
Such an issue,
Maybe shaving would be of assistance with this. I wasn't going to say anything, but now that Chad has brought it up, I think that is a concern. The hairy members of our community scaring people.
So I
myself have to shave my back every week.
All right, that's enough. All right, next topic. Oh boy, there's just nothing I love to hear more about than hairy men, especially when they're shaving their backs. That's what women love.
We'll be more careful next time. We won't.
Speaking of which, how dare we get picked on when we don't shave our legs? When you think about how unattractive all the other parts of the body are where men grow hair. Thank you very much.
Yeah, especially their ears and noses, right? You know, the older you get, that's what happens.
Well, and the
it
bums.
leaves,
Let's not forget that.
leaves your head.
Yeah, I've actually
Gross
been looking up, nose waxing on the net. You know, they have kits for
Ouch.
that now. Yeah.
Okay, getting back to
Yeah,
more
let's
serious
visit that
subject.
again.
The funeral for Kathie Bettler was incredibly wonderful, and I know somebody would say, "How could a funeral be wonderful?" Because it was so fitting for her life, and don't want to talk about it a lot in detail, but it was very, very good closure for the people who went.
Well, and from what I understand, it was just perfect for who she was and what she loved, and just how she lived her life.
Yes, that's absolutely couldn't be said better. There's a quote, and I want to find it. It's by A. Milne, and wrote Winnie the Pooh. Did I say the name right?
I wish I could say that I would know that,
Okay.
but I do not.
I majored
So
in
I'm going to
math.
say yes. That was perfect.
Anyway, Jeremy Grant, good friend of mine, put a quote on the internet on Facebook, and I need to look that up later. And so I know we'll flash back to it later, and I'll read that quote because it was very fitting for the end of that. Bears, I mean, really, I mean, on the serious side, in Berea,
Bears and Berea.
yeah,
Well, I'll have you know, whenever I look through the old cartoons that Tanya has done, I think I found 3 of bears, like periodically spotted, and she would like draw a cartoon of a bear. So evidently it does happen.
but I would think you like out at the pinnacle or somewhere, not.
Oh, right.
in the
Not
middle
usually in Seabury's. Well, it did kind of make you wonder, too. It's like, are we certain this was a bear sighting? Now,
Well, I'm just wondering if we should get Sasquatch Bigfoot hunter down here or something.
ooh, we could do a reality TV show, Hunting the Bear of Berea.
I remember one of Beth's first big articles for the County Chronicle was a cow had gotten loose in town.
Bull.
A bull.
Please, a
okay,
bull.
I'm sorry, a bovine. Yeah. And apparently, didn't the officer have to shoot it, or
Yeah,
I don't know if he had to.
No,
or not,
he
did.
had to. That there was this animal. I remember that. Yeah.
Well, and Jay Buckner from Berea College Public Relations, forgive me, I know it's called something else, Jay, but I can't ever remember the title, told me they had put it, I believe it was on their Facebook, and he said, like, the largest hits they have ever gotten on their Facebook was about this email alert about the bear, and it was more hits than people who lived in Berea. So it's like, okay, there's this huge population that's, like, interested in bear sightings. So I found that really funny. Right? Obviously there's a news gap here that the bear fills.
Well, we need to follow up on that. We need more bear information if we're going to take advantage.
There was
of
also a rumor that someone had gotten video of the bear, but I have not actually been able to get a hold of that yet. So,
well, since so many people carry a video camera in their pocket anymore, it wouldn't surprise me.
Or maybe it's going to be like one of those like Sasquatch videos though, where you see like this black lump like easing down, and you're like, that's got to be the bear. It's like, okay, that looks kind of like a Play-Doh that's black.
Well, you
on
can't
grass.
prove it. You can't prove it wasn't the bear, right?
Well, that is true. That is true.
All right, and we're not going to talk about the yard sale right now because we have our guest coming on later. And what was the other one before?
Just a lip street being closed down,
Oh,
and
yeah,
that mainly is
yeah.
just a traffic warning
No
for
wonder that one
all us
escaped me.
Bereans. Yeah.
Not very exciting.
Yeah,
to talk
not too
about.
much to touch on with that.
Although it will be a mess. At least it's not during the school year, right?
That's true. That's true. And one other thing I should say about Kathie Bettler, I had the opportunity to interview her a year ago in the summer. I believe it was when you were doing Music Man with her, and she had retired. And one thing she had said was just how much the years at Madison Southern as a drama teacher had meant to her. And she had actually planned to retire, I think, 6 years before she did, which is why she started the Spotlight Acting School. That was supposed to be her retirement project, but she just kept teaching. And it was because of her love of just kind of passing on that, the love of the arts, passion for theater. And so I thought that's definitely something, a legacy that who knows how many kids have continued, are involved in the arts because of her.
It's it's wonderful. The whole ripple in the pond effect. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. We're going to go straight on to Jonathan this time. We need to keep moving because we don't know what. I know Beth is pointing at the calendar, but if you don't mind, can we skip and do the sports first this time and come back to the calendar?
You're skipping me, is what you're saying.
No, because Bob is not with us today, and Randy's going to come in here in a little while, and we may want to end on the calendar.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm thinking.
That will work.
Okay, so we're going to go straight to our news analyst and chief sports editor, Mr. Jonathan Schinhofen. How are you, Jonathan?
Pretty good, Chad. Last week I talked a bit about the Chase for the Championship, which was the 5K fundraiser for Madison Southern football. I did better than expected. I had some fancy new running shoes, but there were a couple of people who participated in the race that I wanted to, give a shout out to. There's a rising junior kicker for the Madison Southern Eagles named Garrison Watts, and you don't usually think of kickers as being, the tough guys, but what I wrote in the paper today is he left it all on the field, meaning the last 60 or 40 yards of the race or so he spent throwing up. I talked to him after the race, and I asked if he broke stride, and he said he did, but still, anyone who can kind of upchuck on the field and just keep going is, that's a real man as far as I'm concerned. And there's a running family. If you run the races that I do in Berea, I try to run all of them. You'll hear the last name Meeks all the time. We know Susan from the city council meetings sometimes, but Ray Meeks won second place in his 60-plus age group. That's not unusual at all. He's always winning. And his son, Jason Meeks, took second in the 40 to 44 age group. But there were a number of other people in the family there. In the third generation, Ray's grandson, Lucas Jillian, and his granddaughter, Camilla Julian, also won second and third place. So I think it's fair to say that something's running in the family there. What's her name? Jenny Julian is Jason's sister, Ray's daughter, and Jason's sister. So, it's all in the family there, and they're quite successful. It's fun to watch 3 generations of runners go up and get medals. And something else I've seen around town, you start to see about this time of year, is football players. They're out on the fields. They're in full dress and pads and helmets, and they are just working themselves like dogs. You've got to admire these guys who are out there in the summer. Just, they leave it on the field too. Sometimes football coaches are happy when you throw up too. But anyway, and there's this idea sometimes when you watch a close game and somebody says, "Oh, this team won because they wanted it more," and I've always thought, you don't win in October because you wanted it more. You win in October because you wanted it more in July, and these guys are really really working hard for that. And we need to give a shout out too to the Eagles baseball and softball. They went to the district finals. For both baseball and softball, the Eagles and Lady Eagles beat Berea Community to face Madison Central in the district championships. They lost the district championships, but they went on to regional play at that point. And the Lady Eagles actually advanced to the second round of district play before losing. Sorry about that. It was the getting this wrong. It was the Eagles that went on to the second round. They beat Bryan Station before they lost to Tate's Creek. But this brings up something that I had always wondered, and years ago, it was 1996, 1997, I suppose, when Beth was sports writer for the County Chronicle. Here's a second time tonight I'm mentioning that erstwhile competitor. Anyway, we always wondered why a school like Berea Community is in the same district with a school like Madison Central. It's really sounds really silly, and in soccer and in baseball and basketball, basically there's no way they're, I mean, let's be realistic. There's no way little Berea Community and Model, who are in the same district, are going to be able to compete with Madison Central in the district play at the end of every year. To the point where I wonder if Madison Central, whether the district title means much to Madison Central at all. So I started asking around about this, and I talked to athletic director Luke Wright at Berea Community, and he told me something I wished I had known all these years. The districts in the KHSAA, the Kentucky High School Athletic Association, are basically determined at the pleasure of the commissioner. They can be appealed, but mostly for economic reasons, they just do the districts geographically. So that's why ultimately we see Madison Central playing in the same district as tiny little Berea Community. But there is something else going on there too, and that's the small schools, the A schools, are in separate conferences by themselves. There are things called the All A Classic or the All 2A Classic. I think the basketball team at Berea Community, I believe they're part of what's called the Bluegrass Conference, and so they get to win those championships. They get to win against teams that are more evenly matched with them. So that was good for me to know, because I watch in frustration every year Berea Community just not being able to have a shot at the title, and Madison Southern sometimes does. But that's the reason. There's a logical reason. Don't know if it's a good reason, but there you go.
Well, thank you very much for sharing the sports with us. This week, the sports are actually brought to you by Good Impressions Design of Berea. Good Impressions is a full-service screen printing and design shop located on Glades Road near Madison Southern High School in Berea. You can also find them online at goodimpressionsdesign.com. And they actually made some shirts for us, didn't they, Jonathan?
They did.
They look good.
Wonderful.
Yes, very, very nice. You know what I like is all these tagless shirts now. That's the big.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When I ran the 5K for the President Roloff's inauguration, yeah, they were nice shirts, and yeah, tagless, but they went all out for that one.
Fantastic. Well, thanks again. And we're going to go to a quick break while we bring Randy Coffee into the studio. And we'll be talking about the US 25-yard sale. You're listening to All About Berea. We'll be right back after these messages. Hello and welcome back to All About Berea, where we have a special guest joining us, and Miss Beth, I'll let you introduce your guest here.
All right. Thanks, Chad. Yeah, maybe we should call him the mayor of US 25 Highway
No,
Yard Sale.
no. Let's not get politics involved in
All
this,
right.
Beth. Okay.
But all right, I'll keep for that. But yeah, this is Randy Coffey, who's kind of spearheaded the whole, not only Berea's participation in the US 25 yard sale, but also in many other areas of Kentucky and outside of Kentucky as well. This will be the second year, and I believe this one probably has had a lot more momentum behind it than last year. That there's been attempts to have a US 25 yard sale. So Randy, tell us, do you have any sense maybe of what Bereans can expect this weekend as far as a lot of people coming through? Or?
Well, I think we're going to experience a definite uptick in traffic this weekend. I did notice that there's some folks sitting around town with vans in certain spots that are strategically already located. I noticed a car uptown that was full of what looked like stuff fixing to go to a yard sale. I went to Rockcastle County today, just visiting down there. I was on radio down there as well. And they have done a very good job of organizing in Rockcastle County. I have to hand it to them. They embraced it, and they're going to kill it.
Well, and that's one thing I found when I first moved here years and years ago is Kentuckians love their yard sale. I came from Mississippi, and people did it somewhat, but it was nothing like the absolute passion people have for yard sale in here.
In a lot of senses, it's swapping rags. Okay. I mean, you know, I've been there and done that, and you know, there's a lot of clothes and stuff at yard sales, but I made a point when I went to the city council meetings, which I didn't always bring it up. Every time I was up there, you guys, I had something on I'd bought for $1. I had a jacket on. It was a leather jacket, a Madison Southern leather jacket, which I have sold since for $45. And I gave $1 for it. I have a pair of Justin cowboy boots. They're as nice as you could find brand new on the shelf. I gave $1 for a pair of Justin cowboy boots. That's why we love yard sales.
That's why.
If you can, the best yard sale to go
it's the treasure buried in there that you're going to find, right?
The best one you can go to is when you find a spouse situation.
No, split up.
When they're splitting up, and
Yeah.
she's going to get rid of all his
I mean,
stuff.
the guns are sold pretty cheap, and you can get a fishing reel and rod pretty cheap.
I hope
there.
they're selling the guns.
Recliners go pretty cheap at those. I'm just going on, folks. Seriously, you know, it's a good way to think about it. It's recycling.
Well, you know, Beth,
Not even recycling; it's reusing.
It's
Yeah.
yes, it is reusing, and we're a green community, and not only are we a green community, but let's think about it in another way. Let's think about the green you're going to put in your pocket too, because hey, I had one here a while back, made $390 in 4 hours. That's $100 an hour on a bunch of junk that Patty was fussing about in the closet. So, you know,
Talk about a win-win.
there you go.
well, Beth and I, when we came to Kentucky, we volunteered for the Christian Appalachian Project and lived on 25 at the top of Greenfish Hill
Yeah.
in Mount Vernon, and we threw a yard sale, which was essentially a benefit for yard sailors. We provided tables for people. We got donations for it. We were going to donate all the money. Near the end of the day, all of these volunteers were tired of being at the tables, and we thought, why don't we just have a bag sale? You know, it's just $1.
We've done that with Youth League.
Well, all the vendors, all the people that came to sell, descended upon us like vultures and filled their bags. And we're looking at each other saying, they're going to turn around next weekend and sell this.
Well, I'm sure it did happen.
It's
I'm sure-
entrepreneurial.
Yeah,
activity
I'm
there.
sure there's a lot of reselling goes on, and hey, I had a flea market booth for a while and I killed it. You know, there was month I never had a month I didn't make $300,
Mm-hmm.
and that was after paying my rent. But that's another story. You know, you were talking about Rockcastle County, the yard sale, and selling stuff by the bag. We've been talking a whole lot about, you know, the organization and stuff of it. Let's for a moment talk about the yard sailors and a strategy, okay? And that's, you know, we're talking to Bereans, so let's talk about setting up your yard sale tonight a little bit. Make sure it's good and safe. Make sure that that you're obeying local laws. Get your yard sale permit, which is, I think, still $5 because I don't think it's appeared.
No, it won't write into
It hasn't been published
It
in the
hasn't been published in a paper, and that is your fault, Beth, because you're in charge of the. I'm just going on. No, they passed the law,
Everything
folks.
is my responsibility.
They did pass the law, folks, and change the ordinance, so it's just $2, but it's not really in vote
It's not in effect yet.
It's not effective yet.
Yeah, it will be, but not yet.
But
yeah.
youth league basketball, we had a dump truck load of clothes. That's where I was going with this. And the guy said, "What are we going to do with all the stuff?" So I took the dumbest one, and let's hope he's not listening, and sent him to Walmart to get some bags. And then
he's gonna be waiting out here to kick you.
That'll be all right. And then the second dumbest one, I sent him to Superior, was open at the time, and I said, "Go down there and get all the bags you can get, all recycled bags." And they were like, "What are we going to do with this stuff?" They came back with the bags, and we started handing people a bag and saying, "Oh, you can get in there for $2." Well, man, lint was flying everywhere. So, and one lady came to me with a bag. She was very smart. I had to let her have it for $2. She just stick a sleeve down in there and let the rest of the shirt hang out. And then she'd stick a pants leg down in there and let the rest of the pants hang out. And she had all the stuff hanging out of the bag and just enough in it to
say $2.
$2, $2. I had to let it have it. And then later in the day, we said everything plastic $2, and then later on everything glass, and then everything metal, and we had 6 bags went to Goodwill. So
that was a success.
Well, that was the youth league sale.
Yeah.
But here's what we're looking for success this year. We want everybody to have a good, safe event. We want Bereans to get out and go shopping. Go see if you can find you some bargains. There's people in Berea that's probably never been down 25 to Mount Vernon, to London, to Corbin, to Jellicoe, Tennessee. Take that drive. And if you want to see a real pretty place, go on to La Follette, Tennessee, from Jellicoe on 25. Now, there's not going to be a whole lot of yard salers there, but there's a beautiful river there. It's incredible. It is incredible. Chad, you want to say something?
No, I was just thinking about the drive. I always take 25E when I go down to the Smokies because I like going through the tunnel
I do too.
and all that area.
Well, my parents
when your car doesn't catch on fire, right?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh, did your car catch on fire?
I had one catch on fire one
This
time.
was
yeah.
back in the day
Yeah.
when I think you picked up your cars at yard sales.
Yes,
Isn't that correct, Chad?
when Letha and I first got married, I think we bought 4 cars at yard sales.
I sold a truck at a yard sale.
And people used to laugh.
If you could
say,
get it to run,
what do you mean you bought,
you could get it for
bought a car
$10.
at a yard sale? I was like, well, yeah.
Found it at a yard sale. Street legal.
That's
I got her changed it over up there at the courthouse.
Now,
Well,
Randy, when I was talking to you, when I was interviewing you for the article in the paper, you had said it was probably going to start at the past Cincinnati, right? The border of Kentucky and Ohio. Is that still about how it looks?
I anticipate that Covington is not going to be a great big hotbed of yard sales.
Right.
As you get into the residential areas out into Boone and Kenton County and Campbell County, I guess it's Campbell and Boone, that's when you're going to start finding them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably not going to start at
like
the
you
river.
said, right?
okay?
It's going to be the smaller communities where this is
but
happening. Yeah.
If I was going to shop, I know what I'd do. I'd drive right down to Corbin, get right on down to Lake City. You can come back toward Kentucky a little bit and take Highway 11 across to Bean Station, Tennessee. It's about 40 miles. And then you'll hit 25E and come around that way, and you'd have all that big circle made. And we tried to make a circle, but Morristown, Dandridge, and Newport, we just got to them too late. And that's one thing we learned this year. This year we organized just before the sale, and that's a mistake. We're going to have to start now organizing for next year. Actually, we should have gotten the budgets earlier for next year's sale already. So we should have organized for next year this spring.
If you're thinking like that, you're going to do okay, because it's the same way with the Spoonbread Festival. They start planning the next one when they close. The day they close, the next meeting is about the next one.
The reason I was just a minute or two late, actually 6, was I was talking to a guy in Brunswick, Georgia, and they actually, by luck, have a yard sale the same weekend, and they're at the terminus. So we've already got the terminus at the beach.
Yeah,
The
because
beach.
your thing was you wanted to go all the way to the
We want to
Atlantic,
go to
right?
I
yeah.
want to see blue ocean when I get done at a yard sale. I want to see
Now,
waves.
is that a fantasy or what for Kentuckians?
I'm
Yard
telling you.
sailing and then land at the beach.
There you go. I go down there and buy some seashells or something.
Or sell them.
But folks, you can find everything at a yard sale. You can find tools, you can find clothes, anything for the home, furniture. And I just think it's a great opportunity for people to get out. Like I said, the premise was to get them off the interstate and slow down and take it easy and stop at a mom and pop place and get you a sandwich made at a little deli. There's going to be some people set up with kettle corn, and now they're not going to do that in Berea. I didn't let them come to Berea. If they were running some kind of restaurant or something, I sent them somewhere else. So they're not going to be no competition as far as I know. I didn't bring anybody to Berea that's going to be selling food.
No,
So no
you've
deep
made that
fried-
clear. That you're right.
No deep fried Twinkies or deep fried Oreos.
No, not that I'm aware of, Jonathan.
He
Now,
made
there
very
are
clear
some of
that he
those at the
wanted-
fudge shops, though, in Berea. So, and Randy, from what I understand, some of the signs, at least Randy Stone had told me this, will be pointing out places to people who are yard selling, like where the restaurants are.
We
and
got a
that
grand
type of
total
thing.
of 2 signs, I
Oh,
think.
really? Okay.
Yeah. And the flashing, blinking sign was placed by Blondie's, and it's already in place. And there's a static display sign that's been I'm pretty sure it's across from Pier. And there's one to help you get, if you're coming from the south, to find the restaurants over the hill. We tried to consider that, when you turn right coming from Mount Vernon, you're not going to be going to over the hill where Walmart and everybody else is. You'll see 3 restaurants and a service station, and you're going to hang a right. So if we don't tell them it's down there and point it out, they're not going to go down there. And that is where half of our restaurants are. So we want them to go down there. It's where most of our motel rooms are. We want them to go down there. So that was very important to have that sign. That's why I really wanted 2. I'd really like to have one that said, "Welcome to Berea, and this is the old town," and, all this. But, there's only so many signs, and they're, I guess, expensive, and they really don't want them loaned out. And so...
Yeah, I think our police chief did a good job calling around everywhere, and he's right. It's just this time of year.
I called state representatives. Okay?
So who's telling the truth. There's just no signs to have.
Here's the
thing.
Here's the thing. They told us that District 7 didn't have any. Well, if there's a District 7, obviously there's a District 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And I'm sure that 5, 6, and 4 probably touch us. So, you all know me pretty good. I'm not afraid of making the call, and I made the calls. And we couldn't come up with another one. I almost had one pinned down, but I think the fact that we had one not working and they didn't know about it was a problem.
Well, and I have to say, Randy, you have just put an immense amount of time into this project.
Well,
you have really...
Here's one reason. It's a selfish reason, really. I mean, I read it somewhere, and I hope it works. We're only working part-time right now. I gave up my radio job, which was a part-time job, and I carry the newspaper here in Southern Madison County, and I enjoy doing that because it's an unsupervised, riding around listening to country music type job. It's laid back, and there's nobody but holding a gun to your head saying, "Hey, you got to get 125 in a box by this time," which I really do, but I can usually get it done pretty quick. But I'm only working part-time, and I'd read somewhere one time where if you want a job, to join a nonprofit organization and really work hard at it and let people know that, and if they see you working hard for nothing, they can imagine how hard you'll work for money. So if I haven't stepped on too many toes, I'm hoping that I'll have some opportunities. And I've had a couple people say, "Hey, put an application or bring by your resume." And a guy took me for a ride to look at some of his properties the other day. So I'm thinking that we may find something out of this.
Well,
but
good luck, Randy.
it was
yeah,
it was a somewhat selfish motivational reason to do it. But I'm like, I'm out of work. The cell phone shops I was working at closed down, and
Well, goodness,
I had a
kudos for you for getting out there and not,
I
sitting
don't
on the
think looking for a
couch.
job is taking advantage of anything in today's
No,
economy.
no.
So you're
I
doing
mean,
good.
yeah.
Well,
And what you're doing is going to help the community. And
I love
all good.
I love my state. This is not necessarily about Berea. This is about the state. This is about the whole region. US 25 was a hillbilly highway. Chad knows what a hillbilly highway is. The hillbillies used to leave the country, and I'm a hillbilly. My family did it too. They left the country and went to Hamilton, Ohio, Franklin, Ohio, Detroit, Akron, Toledo, and they went to work in the factories. And they did that in the 40s and 50s because there was no work here. But on the weekends, they loaded up and hit US 23, US 25, 19, 119, and they went home on the hillbilly highways. Steve Earle sings a song about it. It's just really the story of my life. My granddaddy was in the coal mines and quit. Dad didn't get a job in Dallas. He got a job in Charlotte. I didn't go to college, but I ended up being Randy Coffee.
you got an education in being
I
Randy
got an
Coffee.
education. I started at Berea College. I didn't finish at Berea College, but I found it a very interesting experience up there. And my son attends Berea College now. He's the student manager of the basketball team. I'm pretty proud of him.
I didn't know that. I'm glad to know that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't
What's
know
his
that?
name, Randy?
His name is Travis, and
Okay.
he's a sophomore, and he's a rising junior, and it saved us quite a few $1,000s for him to go to school up there. I'm very proud of my son, and he's probably one of the only paid student managers in the nation. You know, they don't get paid at any other school, and he gets a little stipend check, so works out pretty slick for us.
Good for him.
I think it's great. And it's a little better than the job I started out at Berea College.
What'd you do when you was up there?
Well, I was working in Boone Tavern, and Bob Stewart, who I became good friends with, found out that my dad was a contractor, and he said, "We're going to replace all the toilets in the room." So
Oh,
that's what I got to do. Yeah.
When I was up
It was
there,
a crappy job.
Managing
Literally.
a sports team. Yeah.
No, actually, it was not. I'm not complaining at all. I had a ball. I really did, because we worked my own pace. You know.
Were you at Boone Tavern for 4 years?
No, just that first year.
Just that first year?
The first year, yeah.
But he's been lucky. He got his job as a freshman. I've had a guy tell me that's one of the better jobs on campus. So we're proud of him. He does a good job doing it too, and he's very interested in it. But that's another thing. That's something else we should be proud of. Berea College, Eastern Kentucky University, Whitehall, Boonesboro, Lake Reba, Battle of Richmond Park. Look at what all we've got here in Madison County. We have got the most beautiful county in the whole on this whole yard sale, people. This is the most beautiful place for us for anybody to come. When they come to Berea, they're gonna come back. We just have to get them off the interstate and slow down, and that's what this is all about. I think they'll come back. I think they'll come back and have weddings. I think they'll come back and visit and shop the stores. They're going to go down the road and buy the bargains this weekend, but they're going to come back to our beautiful town. I guarantee it.
Well, and it really sounds like, Randy, you're ready for the long haul with this, like working
We're
on
going to do this
for next year.
We're going to do this
year.
unless somebody throws a wrench in my plan. We're going to do this every year.
And you probably love it if you got as big as that granddaddy of, what is it, US 127?
I don't want a
Yard sale?
bumper-to-bumper mess.
Well, that's true.
Okay. I do not have a goal of stopping the roads up and making a mess and people not being able to get around and people wanting to leave on vacation. That is not our goal at all. We want to have just enough folks to come to town that we can really feel the change, Okay,
so not quite that ambitious then, gotcha.
Remember how it used to be, Chad? Chad's lived here about all his life. Remember how it used to be when the crafts fair was big? It's not as big a deal, I don't think, as it used to be. It used to be more popular than it is. And I think a whole lot of that has to do with that tornado that hit years ago. we never really bounced back from that, you know. Then they've moved it around a time or two, and I think that's hurt it. Didn't it move to town and then back out to Indian Fort?
And then it actually, if you're talking about the Guild, they actually moved to
They
Bowling
went to another
Green
city
for a while.
Yeah,
so
just
so,
the spring fair,
you
right?
know,
Not the fall.
we had Jeanette in here. What, last show? Was it last show?
That's right.
Yeah.
Last year.
Talking about the
And
Guild.
yeah, she's really excited, and they're doing some things. So maybe that'll bounce back. But you're right; it takes a lot of work, and you can't just do it overnight.
One good thing about it is, and it's something probably, isn't the Guild thing next week?
No, it was last week.
Last
It was
weekend.
last weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. My wife tried to convince me it was this coming weekend. I've already been around, and that's what I thought, to about 4 or 5 places. And I've told them, hey, I want to know, I don't need figures because that's proprietary information. Just tell me, did we do more this week than we did last week? About the same, you know, was both of them up, down? You know, did you sell more hamburgers, rent more motel rooms, sell more old stuff at the antique store last week than you did this week? I've already had 2 or 3 people tell me, you know, they were a little bit disappointed with last weekend. So we're hoping that maybe this. I don't want to be the goal is not to be the biggest event or anything like this. This is not a contest. It's just an event, and we want it to be fun for everybody. And you know, I tried to think of anybody it would negatively affect, and I had to make 3 phone calls. And those folks know about it. So
Right. So yeah, get a sense of what kind of economic
there
boom
are
there might be
there
for
are
this
there,
weekend. People coming through.
there are
Right.
people in Berea that this may negatively affect. So you have to, you know, any event like this does. I call those 3 people, and they're cool with it. So.
Well, and I have to say, especially in Berea, and we live right on Highway 25 on Chestnut Street. The nice thing is you can really almost do 25 on a bike or walking, and it's not a big deal. So even if people have traffic coming through and they'd like to check out some of the sales, you can get to a lot of places just either walking or biking.
Now,
on
just
that
once
area.
again to recap for our area here, not hearing a lot about a lot of things going on right out the Chestnut area, but more on the Strip area and then towards Mount Vernon on the other side. Is that correct?
Yeah, they had asked me. I think that it was a request from the city police department that we not really have anything from Lip Street to Kentucky Fried Chicken, if that makes geographic sense.
It will for people that live here.
Okay. The problem with that is that there's legal parking until you get to South Broadway. So you can't tell them they can't park there when it's marked off that they can park there, okay? So, I mean, I'm not going to touch that one.
No, and I wasn't getting you to argue.
Right, it's
in
just
that.
for people who
but-
want to go
Yeah,
to the
I'm talking about
sales, there
people
might be
looking for
more.
things.
Right, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to say that issue I wasn't going to touch because I don't know. Another thing was they didn't really want much going on in the block from Foley's Florist to Kentucky Fried Chicken for sure, because that is a choke point. And by a choke point, I mean it's narrow. You can literally only get 3 cars down that road at a time. That's with one parked on one side. It is marked that you can't park on the north side of the road. And they really don't want anybody down through there parking on the side of the road. Now, how they're going to enforce it when it's not marked on the south side, I do not know. But they asked us not to do it. So I did make a trip down to the 2 or 3 folks that I'm aware of that I figured would have a blowout yard sale, and told them, you know, you got to control your parking, and it's their baby now.
Well, that is right where we live, and
right.
And I'll tell you, on a
good-
non-event weekend, if there's a single yard sale on that block, then it really does turn into a little bit of a.
Well, the worst scenario would be a wreck on the interstate. Okay, so let's pray that there is not a wreck on the interstate, because if there is, I am toast. All right,
They're going to run you out of town.
They will. They will. They will. They literally will.
So
But
everybody, just keep your torches in your closet for now.
this is going to be a
Let's-
fun thing, folks. I think that I know that Berea Church of God is really going to have a blowout down there at their spot, and I think that's probably going to be one of the hottest spots in town.
That's
Now
great.
it is off 25, but if they put a
It's
good,
close enough.
if
You
they
get a
put
good sign on there,
right,
right?
a good sign, and you're going to do good with it. Okay, I know what I'd do: 4x8 sheet of plywood in the back of the truck, park it out there in front of the one of those businesses. That's what I'd do if it was my church. But
So what time of day is this going to start?
I can tell you, I've had yard sales before, and there's a little lady in Jackson County that'll roll down here before the sun comes up. I literally had to tell her one day that she was helping us drag stuff out at the school. We were having a benefits sale at the school, and it was dark. And she was, how much is this? How much is that? How much is this? And I said, I know her. Her name's Mary. I said, Mary, there's a big ball of fire going to come over that ridge over there in about 15 or 20 minutes. I said, it's called the sun. And I said, when it comes up, I will price your stuff. Until then, just pile it up. So literally,
that's the time.
Mary will be there.
Sunlight hours.
If you
everyone.
ain't open, she's gonna knock on your door. Okay, I'm telling you. If you say you're gonna open at 8 and it ain't open, she's gonna knock on the door. So daylight.
Right.
At daylight, they're gonna be wanting to buy it.
Well, and
So-
let's reiterate too for people that if you do have a yard sale this weekend, that will not count against, like as part of the US 25 yard sale, that won't count against the 3 that you're allowed to have per year. That is something the city did, and that can be all 3 days if you want to, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So.
And if you're wanting a permit, go get it tomorrow. Don't wait till Friday. Go tomorrow.
Friday at 3:59 p.m.
And I'm actually going to put this show up early, so this show will be up on Thursday instead of Friday, so people can get a little head notice.
Heads up about the
Yeah,
yard
that's right.
sales,
So
yeah.
we're going to rush this one out for that reason. And
Okay.
Randy, we want to have you back after everything settles down a couple of weeks later to
Well,
tell us a recap of how it went.
what we're already planning is, I've already told the folks, look, 10, 12 days, get your stuff together, get some info, gather it, get some intel. Then we're going to meet somewhere, probably in Williamsburg. Williamsburg's mayor's big into this, and that'll be a central point about for everybody that's involved. So we'll probably meet in Williamsburg, and we may try to formally organize this with some officers and stuff like that. I've checked out a couple of yard sales that are more established, and they have actual websites, and then they go out and they recruit organizers in each county, and that is what we really need to do. The counties that I see and I perceive as being more organized and be ready to go here and ready to go for the sale tomorrow, they are the ones that have embraced it and taken it on as an event that they're going to do. Their county government, their city governments have embraced it, and they've recruited vendors, they've run dry runs, they've picked up trash. That's what Campbell County, Tennessee did. They need this. Rockcastle County needs this. Now, I'm not putting anybody down. This is a fact. Rockcastle County is the poorest county demographically on I-75 in the nation. That's a fact. That's not me putting them down. I love them. I dated girls down there. My family's down there. I delivered newspapers down there. I was on the radio down there for 3 years.
Don't worry, we're not going to release any names.
It's fine. I love them, and they know it. But the fact remains that it's a community that needs something like this, and they've embraced it, and they're going to kill it, people. I'm telling you, they are going to do good. If you want bargains, go down there. They're going to have them.
It reminded me of that Ray Stevens song when he said, and then he talked about his love life, and he started naming.
Then he started naming names. I think that was a Mississippi Squirrel, and it was a lady, is what it was. She was naming names. Yeah, the Mississippi Squirrel got loose in the church.
Well, Randy, I really appreciate you coming
I'll
down
tell
and
you
talking
what,
to us,
Beth,
and we
you-
will drag you back here in a couple weeks.
Well, you've helped us a whole lot, Beth, and so have you, Chad. I appreciate your sponsorship. Chad, in case people don't know, Chad kind of sponsored us through the city council here. The little journey that we had through getting it organized, getting it pushed through the city council, the changes that had to be made. I was I hadn't really thought about the 2-day limit. Okay, really. Whenever I came up there and talked to you guys, I knew it, but I hadn't really considered it. So
Hadn't thought it through, yeah.
hadn't thought it through. And, I didn't set it up as a 3-day sale. It's already a 3-day sale. 25 comes through Berea. Looks like we're stuck with it. We might as well make the best of it. That was kind of my one of my rationalizations for getting on board was if it's coming through, I might as well be a part of this. Is my idea anyway. 2009, I suggested this anyway, so I wish I wish I'd have followed through with it, but hey, we're getting it done now. So
So now we can do
is a train. He either jumped on board or got out of the way.
right.
kinda.
Now
When
we
he
can
says
have an
coming
I
down US
Survived
25.
US 25 yard sale 2013 to go along with
I
your
never
bear
really
shirt.
thought about that, but I've been working on a song set to the tune of "I've Been Everywhere." You ever heard that? Hank Snow names
Yes.
89 89 towns. I'm working on that.
Well, you'll come and sing it for us when you're.
Yeah.
That's a tough one to sing. I'll do the best I can, but I'll try to let Tim Hellard work on that for me.
There you go.
My old
That's
buddy
a good
Tim.
one. Yeah, we'll get him in here.
Me
to sing
and
it for
Tim
us.
work on that a little bit.
Well, Randy, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for everything everybody's done, Jonathan, and I appreciate you too, Beth.
Okay.
And Chad, thanks for everything the council did. Thank everybody up there. I'll be back to a council meeting, I think, before long.
You think so?
I think I might.
Well, we look forward to it. And thanks again. And you're listening to Randy Coffee talking about the US 25 yard sale. It's going to take place this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. See,
Actually, that's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Saturday. What I oh yeah, I said it wrong. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's why we're going to put this show out a day early. Try to get people interested in this and get them going.
Thanks,
All right.
Chad.
Thanks a lot.
That's the little thing you made, right? That thing.
Hello and welcome back to All About Berea. We are about to wrap up this week's show, and we couldn't finish an All About Berea show without going over this week's calendar.
Yeah, can't skip me, Chad. All right, let's go over through this next week. As we've already heard from Randy Coffey, there's going to be the US 25 yard sale happening from Thursday to Saturday, June 6th through 8th. There is another event that's happening Thursday through Saturday, and that's a watercolor workshop that's the Berea Arts Council is sponsoring with Junie Mudd. It's happening from 9:30 to 4:30 at Friends Meeting House on Harrison Road. Beginners or advanced for this 3-day workshop. The fee is $210 to $230, depending on whether you're a member of the Arts Council or not. From June 7th to 9th, Friday through Sunday, there's going to be a Play, Think, Movement, and Flow Arts Festival at Homegrown Hideaways on Floyd Branch Road. To get more information about that, you can go to their website, www.playthinkfest.com. On Friday, June 7th, there's going to be a celebration of the Spring 2013 Appalachian Heritage issue that featured Wilma Dykeman at the Appalachian Center. William Dykeman was the first female trustee at Berea College, and this issue is going to be all about her. On that Friday night, there's going to be a reception at 7:30 p.m. with presentations at 8 p.m. by her son and a Dykeman scholar. On Saturday, the Linens and Lace Tea Party will be happening from 2 to 4 p.m. to benefit the Berea Senior Citizen Center. This will take place at the Russell Acton Folk Center. It's going to be an afternoon tea, decorated table auction, and silent auction. Call the Berea Senior Citizen Center to purchase tickets. There'll also be a gospel singing at that Saturday night at Lighthouse Baptist Church on Gabbertown Road at 6 p.m. featuring the Murray family of Hamilton, Ohio. That evening at the Berea swimming pool, there's going to be a free movie. They will have 3 of those this summer. It's going to reopen at 7:30 p.m. The movie is going to begin at dark, and that's going to be Rise of the Guardians. On June 10th, Monday, there's going to be the Yoga for Everybody, the free yoga class at the Madison County Public Library in Berea at 9:30 a.m., taught by Carrie Mahoney. The library provides yoga mats and blocks. It's suggested that you register in advance for that class by calling the library. Club Lego will also take place on Monday, 1:30 p.m. That happens every Monday at the Madison County Public Library in Berea. There's also going to be a program on Monday night, Caving for Families at the library. This is something suggested that families attend if they actually wish to do the caving later that week. On Tuesday, June 11th, There's going to be a program, Music Time for Children from Birth to 5 Years of Age, at the Russell Acton Folk Center at 10:30 a.m. This is a free program that Kingston, South Madison, Friskies, and Parks and Rec have worked on. There's also going to be tie-dyeing at the Madison County Library in Berea at 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Tie-dyeing for teens will happen at 4 p.m. There's a new partnership between the City of Berea and the Old Kentucky RV Park and Campground. It's an arts and crafts class Tuesday evening at 6:30 p.m. at the RV Park and Campground. It's for all ages, free and open to the public. You can call Parks and Rec for more information. On Wednesday, June 12th, there's going to be a grief support group. It's going to occur at Trinity Church in Richmond off of the bypass at 6 p.m. There's no cost to registration. This is something that Hospice Care Plus sponsors. This Wednesday night group will continue through June 26th. You can jump in the middle if you don't catch the first group. For more information, please call Hospice Care Plus. There's also going to be Craft Mania on Wednesday morning at the public library. That's also going to occur at 1:30 p.m. and 4 p.m. This is a regular event that the library is going to hold on every Wednesday afternoon. That evening, there's going to be intermediate watercolor class at Berea Arts Council from 6 to 8 p.m. This is a 6-week class starting this next Wednesday that will take place on Wednesday evenings. Total cost is $75. Call the council if you'd like to sign up. On Thursday, the Madison County Public Library is going to have an organizational meeting for the Couch to 5K program that they sponsor every year. That'll take place at 6:30 at the library. It takes people to running a 5K over a 9-week period. There will also be music time at the library at 10:30 a.m., songs, music, and dance. And at 3, there will be an I Dig Reptiles show, always a popular choice for children in Madison County. That will take place in the Berea Library. Live reptile show by Animal Tales. And then that evening at the Berea Swimming Pool, there will be a pool party for individuals with special needs at 7 p.m. And finally, next Friday, June 14th, there is also part of this partnership between the city and the Old Kentucky Campground will be Aqua Zumba at 10 a.m. on Friday at the Old Kentucky RV Park and Campground. 45-minute class, free to the public, all ages welcome. That night at Kirksville Community Center at 7 p.m., there's going to be a Josh Logan concert and dance. Admission $5, under 12 free. And that will be it for the next week in programs in Madison County.
It's another busy week. And, it's exciting that there's so much going on.
Well, and especially the library and the Parks and Rec are really stepping up in the summer with their programming.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in here with the Couch to 5K really is literally couch to 5K. And they'll pay your entrance. At least last year, they paid the entrance to this Spoonbread 5K for people who completed the course. So, if you don't think you can join a Couch to 5K, if you can get to the couch, you can get to the 5K.
All right, and I'm going to go ahead and end this show on the quote that I told you I was going to pull from the author of Winnie the Pooh. And this is over the Kathie Bettler funeral, a friend of mine who put this quote up. If ever there is a tomorrow when we're not together, there is something you must always remember. You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. But the most important thing is, even if we're apart, I'll always be with you. And on that note, we're going to end this edition of All About Berea. Please join us next week for more news about Berea.